Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today for the first time, I've only been begging him for I don't know how many years. It's my friend Jack Pearson from Building Inspection. Jack, welcome to the show. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing great, and thanks for having me today.
I
It's a
am
lot.
so glad you're here. And are you sure you've never been on the show? I feel like I've interviewed or something, but
No, you've tried for about 12 years. I kept going
kept
to
a
the
low
other side of.
profile.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, we got your boss one, so we got you now. We're working down the list. We'll have you on more hopefully in the future. But we do have you on here today to talk about short-term rentals and everything surrounding that. A lot of people are looking for ways of bringing in some income or different avenues, if you will. And we've heard of things like Airbnb, for instance, and other things associated. So we want to kind of talk about it from the city standpoint, the things you need to know if you're considering doing this, and from both what you know from the state and local municipalities. So first and foremost, Jack, start with just what is considered a short-term rental?
Well, a short-term rental, which is actually defined by the state as a tourist rooming house, is a place where people may stay for short terms. Transit housing, you might want to call it, and by definition, it's anybody that stays for 30 days, less than 30 days at any one given location for a fee at a residential facility, such as somebody's home. The criteria on that for these short-term rentals, we'll call them STRs from here on out, just to make it easy, is they cannot rent them out for more than 180 days within any given one calendar year, which runs from July 1st through June 30th. That residence also has to be their primary home, which means they get their water bills there, their utilities, they pay their taxes. That's their voting destination. They cannot go buy a house at 5520 Lacey Road and just rent it out on a continuous basis throughout the year.
And that was that set up by the state of Wisconsin, or are you blending with our ordinance as well?
No, it's actually a state law. It's under state statute 66, which is municipal law for it's called limits on residential dwelling rental practices. And so it all starts right there. And by state law, they actually have to be licensed with the state. In this particular case, Dane County is the acting agent for the state, and they do the inspections and the licensing for the state. And that includes, the fees that are implemented, whatever they have, and then also the application, and they have to perform an inspection at that property before they'll issue the license. Once that happens, they then have to come to the city with that licensing agreement from the county, aka the state, and they will have to show that to us. It actually goes through the clerk's office, and they have to register with us, which is a little bit different than licensing, but we just want it on file with the city. And there's $100 fee for that. The short-term application is on our website, and they also have to pay a $50 one-time fee of $50 for because they have to pay taxes on that, just as if it was a hotel or motel lodging facility. And what we're finding out is there's not a lot of them that are being registered or even licensed at this level.
And so that kind of drives in what's the purpose, or what are some of the problems associated if when people are renting out there? First, maybe just look in general before we talk about the ordinance and stuff. I mean, overall, if people are renting out their houses, what could be potential issues with that that would come to your plate?
Well, and this kind of came into play at our local municipality perhaps 3 or 4 years ago. We started getting some complaints from a couple different neighborhoods about excessive parking, excessive in and out, noise, parties at night. And that's kind of what made us implement the ordinance within us, so we have a better feel for what's going on where, so that, the departments that need to know, have an awareness of this. And the neighborhoods usually aren't happy either, and there may be a homeowners association where they can't have those type of facilities, or it could be a neighborhood association agreements. And so they really should check with their local covenants to see if it's even allowed. And then at that point, check with our zoning, probably before they even go to the county for licensing, because it may not be allowed. I'm not aware of any situations where that would be the case, so.
Yeah, it's good to know. And then turning our attention, I guess, closer to the ordinance and filling out the application for people who are avoiding going through the process and are doing this. What's the outcome of that? Somebody obviously is going to probably submit some type of a complaint, and it gets to you. What steps do you take moving forward?
Well, typically, and when we first did this ordinance, we tried to put an educational campaign out there, and just, through the website and various avenues and social media. I don't know if it's kind of fallen, by the wayside in the last 3 years, or I think most people want to do right, but there may be some people trying to circumvent the system too. So that being said, I mean, I think our biggest issue from the building inspection standpoint is making sure that all the appliances are working, the smoke detectors, the fire alarms, and more importantly, the occupancy limits that we're seeing on some of these that are being advertised. And we'll see, a 2-bedroom and a maximum of 8, or a 3-bedroom maximum of 14, and that's just not acceptable, by state law, basically, or our own terms.
Yeah, and it's easy for you. This is where it gets even more interesting. Unless you're running a totally underground system. I mean, these are public sites, so it's easy to find. It's easy to jump into a search engine and search Airbnb Fitchburg or whatever rental, and find these things. So there really isn't a reason that you wouldn't be able to learn or find more about it. So if you are, I guess, use the term busted, or you have to pay a visit to the homeowner, what's the outcome of that besides trying to make sure they get signed up? What penalties could you face if you're not following the rules specifically for Fitchburg?
Well, I think specifically for us, I mean, we'd send them out a letter notifying them that they're in violation of several different things. One, renting it without the license; 2, advertising it without a license. And there's a list of about 5 or 6 different things they could be cited for. Without having the records in front of me, I believe the fines can go up to $250 per event. So that could be on a daily basis, and for each violation that's in play. That being said, I believe that the state, which would be the county issuing citations, I think theirs is up around $700. By the way, the state code is written on that, so it can be quite pricey for just filling out some paperwork and having a track record of what's going on. So.
Yeah, and again, it's not that you're trying to deter people from doing this, but it's really that there's reasons behind all of this. It's safety, it's consideration for your neighbors, and again, following the laws that are in place to protect everybody involved.
Correct. Yes.
All right. Well, if people want to find more information, the information is online at our website, fitchburgwi.gov. You go under the clerk's department, and then you can see all the forms there. You'll find the STR, or short-term rental license, and the ordinance information. It's all right there. And Jack, we hope to have you back on the show real soon. Any final thoughts as we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want to add, we're going to be kind of updating our website on probably the building zoning, and maybe on our main page, kind of doing once again an educational campaign for the July 1st date that's coming up again. And we'll probably do a news blip in the Fitchburg Star coming up here in one of the recent papers.
Well, we'll get you back on the show once those updates do happen, Jack. Appreciate the time, buddy. We'll talk with you real soon.
All right. Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
You bet. Jack Pearson for our building inspection. Again, you can find more information on the short-term rentals and all of your building inspection needs at the website, fitchburgwi.gov. Take a quick break, more to come. You are watching TF.